Hello and happy Tuesday, everybody. Welcome to episode 23 of the Relo Show, Real Estate by Loan Officers. I am one of the co-hosts, Sean Richard. With me today, I have the one, the only candid mortgage guy, Candido Diaz. Now, you may notice we're missing one of our usual three amigos.
Or may not.
Or more may not notice at all. We got Mark Sullivan. Mark is always moving and shaking, and that is what he's doing today. So he had to take the day off from the show, but we're gonna hold it down, right, Candido?
Always. Look, episode 23, we made it to MJ.
We made it to MJ. We've officially made it. So excited for today's episode. We are talking. Well, first off, it is content creation month in Next Level. And so we are bringing some content creation content creation content. It's the Department of Redundancy department over here. We're bringing some content creation masterclass stuff to you today. But first and foremost, as we always do, we're going to kick it off in wins and losses. So Candido, man, tell everybody about your week. Give us some highs, some lows.
All right. So content creation, first of all, I am ecstatic. It's like this one was made for me. So let's start with losses. I'm Mr. Positivity. So, now that we are in the public, you can find us on YouTube. I'm going to keep this very general. But I will say, obviously, if, you work in the mortgage banking side, like actually for a bank, this may not exactly apply to you, but for everybody else, I can go ahead and broker a deal. What I will say, the account executive you work with matters. I recently was working with an account executive, and basically, like a good LO would do, making sure that a deal would work up front. Well, because you don't want to waste your time. I am starting to think that I was just yesed rather than the person actually going to check. So yeah, that's my negative, because the deal doesn't work. On the flip side, able to bring it to somebody else, give him the framework, and he's like, yeah, we should be able to do that. Let's go ahead and check this up front before we get too far into the deal. And I said, that's what I want to do beforehand. Whoops, sorry about that.
Are you in New York? Is it earthquake? Oh my God.
Yeah. Oh my God. Hey, that was a real thing, I guess. So, so that was my negative. Positive. Now, this is interesting because you could take this a few different ways. My wife overheard a conversation I had with a client. Now you could, this was, let's keep this appropriate. So this happened to be on a Saturday afternoon. She was walking by. She heard me on the phone, And after I got off the phone, she said, "Wow, I wish when we were going through the home buying process for the first time that we had somebody as attentive as you when we were going through it, because our experience when we went through it for the first time, it sucked." So it felt good to hear that, because obviously you always want to hear how good you're doing, right? And I think the thing that I liked about it is because I wasn't expecting it, right? I was just being myself, what I do on every single deal. So it was nice to hear. And yeah, my wife overheard a conversation, and it was actually a good thing. So what do you know?
I finally realized that you're pretty good at what you do.
Hey,
Fantastic. Only took a number of years. Only right.
Minor details, minor details.
Details. Well, awesome. Well, I am going to start with my win for this past week, and this was a really cool win. So I love it when clients are in multiple offer scenarios, because I've got my go-to strategies to help them win. So one of my strategies is very much my hype man strategy, and I was able to pull that out of my bag of tricks last week on Wednesday. So client put in an offer, multiple offers. I think there was 5, so it wasn't too crazy on this one. And before the offer ever went in, I reached out to the listing agent, talked to the listing agent about the strength of the buyer, and I asked about some poignant questions for the seller. Did they need the home? Did they need this home to sell to buy their next home? Ultimately, the listing agent told me that the seller had a previous contract that fell out last day of option. I took that as an opportunity to ask when that contract was closing. And she said they were supposed to close on the 17th. It's like, oh, that sucks. Your sellers were, had that timeline in their head, and they were making all the arrangements. And she's like, yeah, it's no good. And I said, I tell you what, if your seller likes these clients' offer, I'd love to help make your sellers excited. And let's go ahead and keep the same timeline. Why don't we close on the 18th? And this was like a 2-week close for that to happen. And her response to me was like, you can get it closed that fast? And of course the answer was absolutely. And so fast forward to the next day, I get an email from my partner, the buyer's agent, letting me know that we had the contract. So the strong offer combined with my hype man strategy to really reach out, hype it up before it even ever got to them, was able to seal the deal. So that was fantastic. All right. So now let's time for the shitty moment of the week. Shitty moment of the week. On Saturday, these buyers terminated the contract. Yeah, big win there. Yeah. So huge win in getting the contract. Buyers had something pop up in their lives that they didn't feel like sharing. I got a call Sunday morning from the buyer's agent, and the buyers had elected to terminate the contract and take a breather from the home buying. So same transaction, huge win, big loss, all at the same time. Hey, what are you going to do except get back up and keep moving? So that's what I am doing. And we're here today. All right, Candido, man, I'm excited about today. We are talking content creation. Again, if you're just tuning in, it is content creation month in Next Level. So it is all things content creation. Candido, I couldn't keep his exuberance back on this. He's like a little schoolgirl for this topic.
Absolutely.
And today we are talking about how to make content creation simple. So many in our industry, loan officers, real estate agents, they struggle with content creation. They feel that it's cumbersome, it's tedious, it's time consuming. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to create. We're going to try and dummy that down and give you some really simple, easy tips for making content creation easier, simple. And so, Candido, why don't you kick us off, the king of content creation? Tell us what you do to make your content creation easier so that way it doesn't overwhelm you throughout the week.
First of all, I was distracted because you said hype man. You were playing hype man. The one thing that came to my head is like, ooh, what would be my hype man song? I think the Ruckwilder by Method Man and Redman.
I can get down with
So
that.
just had to get that out there. Yeah, I'm going to try not to eat the mic and jump through the screen because, as you can see, I am extremely passionate about creating content. And for me, I think I missed my calling. I thoroughly enjoy doing this, right? So I like to be creative. I'm realizing I have a creative mind. I created a kid that's just like me, for better or for worse.
I don't know if that's creative, but okay.
But it's something that I thoroughly enjoy. So for me, I want to share my screen. So while I figure out how to do that, let's see here. Present, share screen. Here we go. Oh, Tony, Uptown Funk. Yeah, I mean, not gonna lie, I do enjoy that song. So Tony gets me. What can I say? As far as what I like to do to try and create content and keep it simple, right? So as you can see, my main focus, at least from a creating content perspective, is Instagram. And what I do is it's not the only platform that I post on. In fact, I would actually say I tend to do better on Facebook. But the best part about this is it allows me to stay on track. So as you can see, I post the same sort of thing every 6 posts, right? So just so we can kind of figure out what am I going to be doing today? Well, today is going to be this template right here. It says happy opening day, which actually could apply today because it's opening day for the Red Sox at home. Shout out to the Bo Sox. But it's really simple for me to know what to post today, right? So yesterday, I had a post ready to go, everything, and then obviously the eclipse was happening. I like to go ahead and come up with all of my content. I'm not a big batch content creation type of guy, meaning I don't love to sit there and create 10 posts at once. For me, I like to be creative and, I always get into a certain mindset every single morning. So what I tend to do is I like to create the week before. And each weekend, what I'll do is I will make sure that I am set for the upcoming week. And like I said, perfect example was yesterday. I already had my post ready to go. And then I realized that, I don't know, for whatever reason, I was the one person that hadn't created something for the eclipse yet. I did something really simple. I was able to use CapCut and just a simple video, and it's one of the best as far as engagement and outreach videos that I've had in a while. So, but it's really easy for me to know what's coming next. And Sean, what do you think? I think, like you said, that's probably the thing that people struggle with the most is what the heck am I supposed to post next? I think for something like this, it helps me stay on track. What are some of the things that you do to kind of figure out, okay, what am I posting next?
Yeah, and so great point. I've got some filler posts that I do, which is not ideal, but I've got some filler posts that like you've got your quotes that you're doing, and you've got a very regimented every 6 posts. I'm not quite that regimented with it, but I'm looking for industry related content. I'm looking for value adds to consumers, whether it's mortgage related or not. I'm constantly scouring to be mindful of what information is hitting my inbox, which is coming to me in various methods of media, whether it's online, email, whatever the case may be, to create content off of. So I do batch content as well. But I try to have a nice mix of batching and non-batching because there is something to be said about spur of the moment, like captivating an audience based on relevant current information, right? It's got to be relevant to them. So that's where I'm just, as far as what to post, I'm constantly looking for content that's coming into my purview.
Yeah, and I think even so, there's so many opportunities for you to be creative. For me, I know that when somebody goes ahead and sees something that I post online, most of the time, look, I have an interesting sense of humor. If I can try to make something funny and be educational or whatever at the same time, it's perfect, right? Because I'm the same guy that you're meeting that's posting that goofy content of me looking at the solar eclipse and seeing a picture of myself saying to get pre-approved for buying homes. Like that's what I did yesterday, right? But and I'm also the same guy sitting on my picnic table, going ahead talking about the results from the Fed meeting while in the background playing uh, back that thing up. Okay, so there's different ways to go ahead and insert your personality, and I always think that all right, am I being too goofy? Am I going too much over the top? But at the same time, I am just being myself, right?
That's really
Any
important.
exactly. Anybody that knows me is just like, oh yeah, that's good. That's Candido. That's right up his alley. Yep, that's saying something serious while referring to Jerome Powell backing that thing up.
I agree, Candido, man. I think being yourself, being authentic, being genuine is really important. Are you the same person online as you are in person? And if the answer is yes, then you're probably doing something right. Because if you want people to gravitate to you to do business with you, then that gravitation is going to happen for you being you, right? And if you don't think people like you, then maybe that's an introspection that needs to happen, right? For me, I also leverage templates. I'm going to see if I'll do a quick screen share as well, and
Cool.
and then this will be quick. Share screen. Let's bring this up. I'm going to share a window. Boom. I too had Eclipse information on my social media. I was not as candid and funny as Candido, but I leverage templates. So, like you'll see these quote templates throughout my post periodically. I try to not back to back them like this, but every once in a while. Some of my posts that have, I'll give you a really good example of a post that did relatively well. Instagram is not my biggest hit. Usually TikTok or Facebook I get the most, but this one right here was actually one of my best activity posts. I was actually at Costco and we were just standing around. It's pouring down rain outside. We're over the overhang and people are just waiting for the rain to calm down. And I just kind of did a quick little turn and videotaped everybody. And then I turned it into, hey, this is actually a bunch of home buyers waiting for rates to come down. Got a lot of got some laughs on the various platforms. Had agents reaching out, engaging with it, which was important. But a lot of the templates that I use, like this one here, I do a bunch of home buyer tips, and I've created a template that I can simply put into a carousel. And so anytime I want to create a home buyer tip, I throw it in this template, and it's really simple and easy. These videos that you see here are all the one I did this morning, just a few minutes before the show today. That is a template that I created through Canva. So creating video and image templates can really simplify the content creation process for you. And I've got, video, image templates, carousel templates, and then I try to intertwine that with spur of the moment stuff, like like this, or like this. I do rock climbing. I took one of my rock climbing and I was like, hey, is housing market on the rocks? And I created a caption that went with that headline. So leveraging those templates makes it much easier for me. I would also say that one of the other ways that I am able to really simplify my content creation, and this is more recent for me, is repurposing content. So I'll give a really good example of that. Is I did a webinar for real estate agents last week. I did 5 modern lead generation strategies, and I covered 5 lead gen strategies that were low cost to free. And it was about an hour-long webinar. But then after the webinar, I took that hour-long webinar and I actually used CapCut as well. And I chopped it into 5 segments where I'm covering, each segment was one of the lead gen strategies. And so now what I've done is I've taken those 5 videos of each lead gen strategy, and now I'm blast emailing those out to real estate agents in my database, because I had several agents on the webinar, but I've got 1,300 agents in my database. So I'm able to take those 10 to 20 minute segments on the lead gen strategies, blast it out in an email to my entire real estate agent database. And then I've got calls to action in those emails to schedule a strategy call, and looking for, I utilized one piece of content that I created to turn that into numerous pieces of content. I even took that content and I put it into Opus Pro, which takes long form content, chops it into short form content. It's an AI solution. And now I've got online reels to be able to put out that are like teasers for the webinars that I do. So repurposing content. Candido, do you do much in the way of repurposing? And if so, kind of what do you do?
Yeah, so there's a lot that what you said just makes a lot of sense. First of all, the amount of time that you're saving is through the roof, right? And I think where a lot of us get tripped up, especially when we're first starting out, is what do we do? Well, you could take the same piece of information and turn it into 10 different things, right? That's exactly what Sean just was explaining. For me, and this is something you probably do too, right? A good example would be taking real life and putting it online. Every week I have BNI, and you're in the same type of networking group too, as well as Mark.
Damn.
I try what we do. Don't tell anybody. Is not the most exciting to a lot of people. So the one of the very first times that I was in BNI, I had the first times I was trying to get into the group. One guy was over here saying, "Oh, yep, I do mortgages. We do FHA, conventional, blah blah." I think I told you the story. I went. I was lucky enough to go right after him, and I said, "I want to buy you a beer." And it was a whole thing where my company was hosting an event at a bar, a brewery that night, and I said, "Oh, anybody that comes, let's go ahead and grab a drink together, right?" So for me, it's always about how are we able to differentiate ourselves, rather than just say, "Yep, I do FHA loans." Awesome. How the hell do you make that and make it exciting? So, something that I like to do every single week is, in every single day, I'm looking for specific content. Okay. I'm looking for different ways that I can engage. And especially on Instagram, what you're able to do is go ahead and save posts. I save a ton of posts, and you're able to, kind of put it into separate categories. And I'm able to repurpose that and make it my own. I always reference this: steal like an artist. If and even with each other, we could take look at what other loan officers are doing. Right? You want to see what's doing well for them, what's not doing well for them. But most of us offer a lot of the same products, a lot of the same things. It's how you are able to present it. So, one thing I do every week is I'm looking through some of my content that I want to say for BNI. Typically, I will take that same content because I just spoke about it for a minute at my group that morning. I'll then, when I come home, go ahead and crank out some sort of content for either the upcoming week or this week, whatever, I'll go ahead and film it because I just practiced doing it in real life. I had a meeting this morning. We were talking about bank statement loans. So what did I do? I came back and made some bank statement content right away. Why? It's top of mind. So, for me, I have specific times every single day that I have set aside for, going through, engaging with content, scrolling, trying to find inspiration. And this isn't just me, sending dumb stuff to my friends. Don't worry, I do that too. But, I really do try and scroll with a purpose. I'm trying to get inspired, trying to see what other people are doing, trying to, get information. I take screenshots all the time. Green screening right now is a huge thing that's getting a lot of traction, doing really well on social media. So those sort of things. Do you have an example? I have a couple, but
yeah. So we can show here's an example, because so if for those of you who aren't super familiar with green screening, right? Like this is let's see if this will work. I've got an internet connection that should stabilize. So here I'm right. I took an article that came across my desk and I simply turned it into a green screen behind me. I'm talking about the article in the video. And so just simple content creation by taking the information that we get on a regular basis. That's actually, so Candido is pulling off of social, whereas I like to pull off of, emails that I get. So I'll get an email from a housing wire, right? I think if you're in real estate or mortgage, you're getting lots of different emails from lots of different resources. And so I'll get an email from Housing Wire and it'll have 3 or 4 or 5 different article headlines. I may see an article headline and I'm like, oh, this is good information. I'll go click on that headline on my phone and I'll read the article so I understand what it's talking about. And then I'll take a screenshot of the article with the headline. Now, we'll go back to this one for just a second. So, I'll take a screenshot. In this particular case, I use the screen recorder on my phone to actually do a video instead of just a screenshot. So I was able to scroll through the article in the video, which was, kind of a little extra visual to keep people's attention that I tried to leverage. But essentially, I like to take these articles, do a green screen like this, and simply talk about the article, give my take on the article, leveraging it as an opportunity to educate buyers, agents, consumers in general. And so, Candido, you're right. Green screening is really big, but that's leveraging the information that's already hitting our inboxes is a simple, effective way to create content, right? You already have an opinion on it, right? If you get it in your inbox and you read it, you already have an opinion. Cool. Take that article, take a snapshot, put it behind you, talk about that article, right?
And the beautiful thing is, Sean, sorry to interrupt. We're talking about the same thing. We're just consuming it in different ways, which that's exactly what it is, right? So Sean might see it to his inbox. I might see the same headline by scrolling through and actually seeing it from the Housing Wire social media account or the podcast that I heard earlier that morning. So, I think that what's important is to know that you're right, Sean, we just get a plethora of information every single day. So, the excuse that I don't know what to post, well, just start by utilizing all of the information that we are given on a daily, hourly, minutely basis. I don't know if that's the thing.
And I think it's training ourselves to be aware, Candido, right? Yeah. It's I've had to train myself to be mindful. So I showed the video where I talked about the video where I was at Costco, right? And I panned for all the people out there. And 6 months ago, that wouldn't have even crossed my mind to do something like that. So I've had to train myself to be aware, be mindful of the moment that I'm in. And be like, okay, well, what could I do with this? How could I use this? same thing. When those articles, like shoot, this morning I had several emails come across my desk, and I combed them for articles that I think that might be interesting information. And I simply went in and I took screenshots of, two to four articles that I can then green screen and talk about. And it took me seconds to do that. And then I'm recording 30-second videos. So probably later today, I'll batch post. I'll record, 4 videos under 30 seconds a piece talking about the articles. And then I just have to do a little bit of editing. And I like to batch edit. I don't like, because that way, if I'm editing one video at a time, it takes a while. If I'm batch editing, I can knock, 5-10 videos out in 30 minutes, an hour. But now I've got a week's worth of content, all from emails that hit my inbox, yesterday and today. And so it's being aware and training yourself to be aware of the information that we're getting bombarded with on a regular basis.
Yeah, and to kind of wrap things up, the nice thing is, like we were saying, you're not having to reinvent the wheel here. There's a lot of people in our industry that are really good at posting and being able to utilize content. Follow them. Like I said, steal like an artist, try and make some of the things your own. Feel free to follow us. I'm more than happy. I've had people take my content and repurpose it. It actually feels pretty good. I'm like, oh, well, so that means what I did didn't really suck. That's awesome. So, I think it's there's a lot of different ways to go about it, but the most important thing is to be out there, get yourself out there, get into the habit of saying, oh, you know what, that will be that'll make for some good content. And at the very least, if you have any questions, we're here for you. Like I said, it was jumping out of my seat ready to do this episode, and I could literally talk about this all day, but I don't think that would be good for anybody. So
well, man, Candido, I always love getting together with you. I just want to say thank you to everybody who tuned in today. If you are a real estate agent, if you're a loan officer, and this is your first time checking us out, we're here every Tuesday, 11 a.m., The Relo Show. Candido, Mark, myself. You can check us out on YouTube. You can check us out on StreamYard. Usually Candido and Mark and I have us streaming to other platforms as well. Tell other loan officers, tell your real estate agent friends. We want to help you do more business. We want to help you have more success. We want to help you stand out from your competition. And we want to help you be more accountable in your business. I know Mark, Candido, and myself, we'd like to hold each other accountable. So thank you, everybody that tuned in to episode 23 of The Relo Show. Candido, man, any parting thoughts?
No, just get out there and start doing it. I mean, that's really what it is. Let's go. Just do it.
We will be back next week, 11 a.m. Central, 9 a.m. Pacific, 12 Eastern. I think I got it all right this time.
12 Eastern. That's what matters. But all right, thanks everyone.
Till next time. Take care.